MMA Meltdown on the Fight Network continues. Let's send it to Costa Rica, where the premier combat sport odds maker in the business joins us, and he's got a kick-ass new website as well that'll keep you up to date with all the line movement, which side the money is on, over at Odessa.com. Joey Odessa joins us. Joey, always a pleasure. How you doing?
Hey, what's happening tonight, Jay?
So, Joey, was the Odessa household watching Canada and Costa Rica in the Gold Cup? Because I got to tell you, man, Canada came pretty close to knocking the Costa Ricans out of the tournament.
Yeah, I tell you, my kid only pops in the office every once in a while to throw me a winner, and damn if he didn't get the Women's World Cup. But he hasn't been back. You know, he just cashes in, takes his chips, and walks out.
He's smarter than you and me, eh? You and I keep playing to the end of the night. Yeah, Joey Jr. takes the chips and goes to the cage and cashes out, just like Conor McGregor backers did, Joey. And I got to be honest, I was on Dustin Poirier that time against Conor. I learned my lesson, and I wasn't going to get burnt again. So I was on him against Mendes. But you and I talk about this often, and you've always talked about this. You know, after a guy wins, you say, I'll send limos, man. Let them build this guy up, and, we'll make our money back down the road. And we got to give credit to Conor. Conor won. I thought it was an incredibly quick stoppage. I'd never seen Herb Dean run that fast to stop a fight before in my life. But, hey, it is what it is. But I'll tell you what, Joey, I see some preliminary opening numbers right now. Conor, minus 150. Insanity, and it'll probably go up.
You know, I don't know. I was going to say, I don't know if we'll get our money back on this Conor anytime soon. He made a believer out of me. I mean, I really thought Chad Mendes was going to beat him. And at the beginning of the second round, when Conor was calling him on, it was kind of like I saw it in his eyes. It's like when Oscar De La Hoya used to bite down on his mouthpiece. He'd be like, okay, now it's time. You know what I mean?
They got to you, Odessa? They got to you? What are you drinking? You're drinking Guinness over there? I can't believe this. This proves that me and Joey don't collude before we do this show. I thought you were going to tell me this is Mayweather and Pacquiao. That's what I was saying on Twitter. This is Mayweather and Pacquiao all over again, man. Line up, bet on Conor. My money's on the Brazilian.
Oof, I just don't know. At this point, Aldo's great. Aldo's my number one pound for pound, if such a thing existed. And they are, they're at the same weight, ironically. But this, he really did make a believer out of me, out of Mendes. Mendes appeared to be in all right shape. He controlled the first round. But the simple fact that Conor wanted more, this kid's got some, he's got some stack on him. He really, he impressed me. He made a believer out of me.
He's got balls of steel, doesn't he? We'll give him that. He really does. He really does have balls of steel. He had an injury leading into the fight as well. He really did have a bad knee. So, Joe, he's made a believer out of me as well. I'm buying in. I was slow to buy in, but I have bought in. But with that being stated, you just stated that you think that Aldo's the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world, but you're not sure he's going to beat McGregor. So you're telling me that you think Conor is going to be the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world 6 months from now?
It's easy matchups. The different styles. I looked at Chad take him down, and then I looked at Conor's power. They both put Chad to sleep. One time, Aldo did. It's a great fight. I think it's going to go back and forth. We saw minus 200s out there. I don't think you'll see that minus 200 either way. Even if the fight's in Ireland, if the fight's in Ireland, the number's going to be high. If the fight's in Brazil, the venue's going to be critical. Absolutely critical. But I tell you what, he silenced his critics. Mendes did take him down. McGregor, in the middle of the cage, I don't want to coach Joe it. He didn't get up as good as he could have. You don't know how great of a camp Mendes had. But I'll say one thing about McGregor. At the end of the fight, I don't know what was said in the middle because mine was in Spanish, but he came over and he showed me something that, Conor's a salesman. And a lot of people don't like him, and I didn't like him. And maybe that's what warmed me up to him a little bit, is he came over and he gave Mendes a hug and kind of said something to the effect of, all things are in the past. Or I don't know what he said. But it looked
basically,
like
you know what he said. He called Jose Aldo. He said to Mendes, "Thanks for taking the fight. You're a real warrior." And he said, "I'm going to kill that juice ass pussy." I believe that were his exact words.
I don't know what he said,
but whatever.
Embracing him, like he acknowledged him. He he didn't spit blood on him, like in the McCarthy fight.
Well, that guy, that guy Magali should be fired, man. That should be fired. Spitting blood on somebody, and it ended up spitting on McCarthy. He got Big John. He didn't even get the dude. That guy should be fired. But anyways, Joe, we've only got a couple of minutes left. Time's flying by here. So we got another European guy that used to piss people off, in Michael Bisping.
He still does.
Yeah, I guess he still does. I was a little bit surprised.
Commentary.
I was a little surprised to see the number. The fight's a pick'em, Joe. Even though normally I don't care. You talked about Conor and the venue's going to be important. For the record, Dana said it would be in Vegas for whatever it's worth. But I think this venue kind of does matter a little bit for Bisping. He's going to be fired up. The Scots are going to be fired up. But what do you make of this fight? It's a pick'em, -110.
Well, one thing it opened a lot higher. I saw -170 out there. When Lights made his comeback, against, who did he come back against? He came back against, I'm looking at Bisping here. Lights won 8 in a row. He did beat that Trevor Smith who just recently won. He had a softball kind of thrown at him with Ed Herman. He beat what's his name? He beat Boach. He beat Carmont.
Carmont and Boach are the last 2 fights. Yeah, you're right. And the thing with Bisping, it's amazing, Joe. He hasn't won 2 fights in a row since 2011. 2011.
Since he fought Miller.
Yeah.
Going all the way back, Miller and Sonnen, and he hasn't won 2 in a row. And the shorter the layoff, he lost every fight that was a short. These are stats, and you know how I feel about stats. But it seems like the shorter the time between fights, the worse he performs. And I don't know if that's because he's on TV, because he's maybe overtrained for the fight that he won.
He's a little older. Joe, I noticed this exact same thing with the other guy on this card, Ross Pearson. If Pearson hasn't fought in 7-8 months, he's fresh, man. He comes in there throwing bombs. If he's trying to get greedy and pull the Cerrone and fight, he loses. That's what happened to Pearson as well. We got to get out of here in a minute here, Joey. So do you have a lean with Bisping and Thalas right now?
It pains me because I didn't think he was going to ever do anything on this comeback trail, but I like Dallas, unless the judges get to the, who knows? We saw a 30-25 in that last card, so anything's possible. And this card's in, Scotland?
Yeah, and one thing, too, with ladies, we've seen him, he's got 14 submissions in his career, and Bisping's last loss, he actually got subbed as well. Dunham's +160. Dunham's +160. We got to get out of here, Joyce. Dunham's +160. Pearson's -200. Like I said, Dunham was a really hype guy a couple of years ago, but he seemed to embrace the fight of the night type of guy. He's almost like a Sam Stout type. He wants to go in there and bang and bleed and make some money and entertain. It's a dangerous way to make a living. Pearson's found some power with age here. I like Pearson.
I got to like Pearson too. What's his name? Dunham's coming off a win against Rodrigo Dam. Before that, he lost 3 in a row. He did have a great split decision win on the paper against Tabao, but before that, he lost to T.J. Grant, Nick Lenz. I got to like Pearson here.
Yeah, one thing with Pearson, it's amazing. 7 of his last 8 fights haven't gone the distance, one way or another. He's either knocked you out or he's been stopped. It's amazing. When you think of finishes, you don't really think of Ross Pearson, but the guy's, like I said, he's a knockout machine right now. If he wins, he seems to knock you out. Joey Odessa, check him out, odessa.com. He's got write-ups, odds, picks, and all that stuff. Joey, thanks for the time.
All right, have a good one, Gabe.
I've said it before. I'm going to say it again, guys. We've got some great videos. This week we got one video for the MMA purist out there. This is the sickest move I've ever seen in my freaking life. We'll come back, wrap things up with our video of the week.